Okay, everybody. Happy Sunday, the 23rd March, 22nd. Hope everybody had a good weekend. The days are going by so fast. Oh, Paul, you made it on time. Get off and relaxing today. We got a big lineup today. I got some good stuff. Boss, so did you see my headline I put up there for you? When I put the headline on? We got Mel over an hour 8 minutes, and a Billy Bean 19 minutes, and a bunch of other good ones. Oh yeah, I on the headline thing for today I put an hour. I guess my Arizona team don't play till tonight, 8 o'clock. So, but we'll do the two shows today because we got a lot of good stuff coming out. Things are getting busy. Lo see. Just got done eating the hamburgers I made up. Chico's all okay now. A while till the deer comes out later. I got a clip on Newswithzman. What he said he banned voter ID in California. But I'm going to start off with all the short ones, and then the middle ones, and then the 20-minute ones. So hope everyone all ready and another day of good intel.
Calienta agua de botella rápidamente, seguro.
Q came out again. You want to wait a few minutes here? We'll get started. We're winding down of into March. We'll see what happens in April, the first of the year. They say for the sixth time they said that.
Hey, Angela, you know what you want?
Derek is coming out with a lot of videos lately. I got 4 more, I think. I haven't seen our TikTok lady yet, Lucy. Yeah, Billy Bean came out early again. That's 2 days in a row that she came out early. Okay. Samantha made it. Got time today, huh? Hope you get to stay the whole thing because we got another big lineup. It's gonna be a. I got all my stuff done. I just made some hamburgers. We got an hour, 8 minutes Mel video, a 20-minute Billy, and a bunch of other good ones. So trying to keep up with everything, like everybody's saying. There's so much stuff to get out. So we're gonna do the short ones first. We'll go ahead and get started. Hope we'll get everybody in here. Why is that? Oh,
How great is my task, and how meager are my resources. Give me wisdom,
2
I
minutes.
pray. When demands press in on every side,
Bingo!
give me accurate eyes that can separate the important from the urgent, the fundamental from the incidental. Give me wisdom, I pray. When I ache for my soldiers' friendship, give me courage to earn their respect and obedience. Give me wisdom, I pray. When time and task pull in different directions, grant me clarity to see the way and peace to calm those around me. Give me wisdom, I pray. When decisions are demanded, may my walk
You guys hear the
match
video
my
okay?
talk. Remind me daily that the speed of the leader is the speed of the journey. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my authority is tested, show me when to raise my voice and when to lower it, when to use the carrot and when to use the stick. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my time is done, may I be remembered as a leader who encouraged, not discouraged, as a man who built people up, not tore them down. Give me wisdom, I pray. When in victory, keep me humble. When in defeat, keep me from despair. Compensate my weaknesses, accentuate my strengths, mold me into the man you want me to be. Give me wisdom, I pray. And most of all, please keep my soldiers safe. Lead them, guide them, protect them, watch over them. And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me to give all of myself for them.
Chico,
And it is in your
that's
name
enough.
we pray. Amen.
I hope you guys heard that. That was an important video there. You're terrible this morning all of a sudden, buddy. Come on now. Why is this?
Started building a ship that requires zero crew,
About 3
zero
minutes.
heating, zero air conditioning, and can cross the entire Pacific Ocean by itself. 90 days at sea, no humans, no complaints, no mutiny. It's called the Liberty class, and the first one went into production this month. Here's what makes it generally different from every other autonomous vessel announcement that's come and gone. Blue Water didn't design a new hull from scratch, which is exactly how the Navy's previous programs burned billions and delivered nothing on time. Instead, they licensed an existing proven design, the Damon Stand Patrol 6009, loaded it with the off-the-shelf components, and built a robotic assembly line at Conrad Shipyard in Morgan City, Louisiana. The result? A 190-foot autonomous vessel that can carry 165 tons of cargo across 11,500 miles at 29 miles per hour. And they can build between 10 and 20 of them per year, right now, today. Not in 2031, after 3 redesigns and a congressional inquiry. No crew means no crew quarters, no galleys, no bunks, no HVAC systems, no medical bay. Everything that normally eats up space and budget inside a naval vessel, gone. What's left is pure function. 4 standard 40-foot cargo containers, weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, whatever the fleet needs, wherever it needs it, delivered autonomously. The name isn't accidental either. Liberty ships were the unsung heroes of World War II, mass-produced cargo vessels that kept Allied forces supplied across 2 oceans. Between 1941 and 1945, the U.S. built over 2,700 of them. At peak production, that's 3 ships every 2 days. The record for fastest build, 4 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes from keel to completion for the SS Robert E. Perry, a record that still stands. Blue Water isn't matching that pace, but at 10 to 20 ships a year using robotic assembly, they're moving faster than anything the traditional naval procurement system has managed in decades. Here's the outside number that ties us back to everything we've covered today. The U.S. Navy currently needs 381 ships to meet its strategic requirements. It doesn't have them and can't build them fast enough through conventional means. An autonomous vessel that costs a fraction of a crewed ship, needs no shore rotation, no medical support, and no salary, changes that math completely. The Navy doesn't just have a fleet size problem, it has a manpower problem, a budget problem, and a procurement problem all at once. The Liberty class doesn't solve all of it, but it's the first a genuinely smart answer to arrive in a very long time. No crew, no delay, no excuses.
So that was a new channel there I found. Thought that was an important one. Why is my Telegram messed up? Come on. Hang on, guys. There's something out of Telegram. I got it messed up. Okay. I think I got it. Andy, you made it. Second video.
APR or a $1,000 customer bonus on a select new 2026 Tiguan during Volkswagen Driver Days.
Well, it's called the Rapid Bus. Riders say it's anything but. In this morning's On the Move report, I'm explaining why transit advocates say the city hasn't delivered on promised upgrades. What was supposed to be a speedy ride, riders say is far from it. The Rapid 215 runs between downtown and San Diego State through some of the city's most dense neighborhoods, with about 1.4 million riders a year. But transit advocates say when the line launched more than a decade ago, it was supposed to get riders across the city in 30 minutes.
What we see today in our test is that it takes about twice that. So it takes an hour to go from end to end, hitting multiple red lights, getting stuck in traffic.
Anar Salaya is with a nonprofit Bike San Diego, says he rides the 215 himself.
I personally take the 215 regularly. I live right here, and so I use the 215 to get to San Diego State sometimes to meet with professors there. I used to visit friends down in University Heights in North Park.
But he says many features that would make the line truly rapid were never built.
There are a number of things that the 215 doesn't do, like all-door boarding, like off-board payments, and it doesn't have dedicated bus-only lanes throughout its entire route,
resulting in a bus that often moves at the same speed of traffic.
You take it and you notice that you're often stuck on red lights. You notice when you go through a board park that you're stuck in traffic with the other cars. So this is very frustrating.
Life Genzer volunteers with the transit advocacy group Ride SD. He's part of a coalition with Bike San Diego and San Diego 350 pushing the city to speed the route up. And their ask, more dedicated bus lanes plus quick fixes like painted bus only lanes and traffic signal priority.
We just want to get back to what was originally promised to us, which is that 30-minute end-to-end time.
The city says rapid bus service remains an important transportation option and says it's open to expanding bus lanes in coordination with MTS. Officials also point to recent transit-only lanes on Park Boulevard through Balboa Park. But they say budget challenges mean the current focus is maintaining existing infrastructure, with future improvements possible when funding becomes available. Advocates say improving transit isn't just about speed, but affordability.
Driving costs San Diegans an average of $1,000 a month. It is the biggest expense in their personal household budget.
For now, advocates say they'll keep pushing for changes, hoping the rapid bus can one day live up to its name. Advocates with Bike San Diego, Ride SD, and San Diego 350 say their campaign is aimed at making the 215 a truly rapid bus line by adding dedicated bus lanes and other transit improvements. Now, to learn more about their efforts, you can visit.
Okay, bus updates. Back in the 90s, when I was 80s and 90s, there was no buses. I just don't care for them.
Of where I come from.
A 40-year-old Supreme Court decision is getting a second look. Plyler versus Doe guarantees every child the right to a free public education, no matter their immigration status. Now, some Republicans want to overturn that decision. In 1975, the Texas legislature passed a law that allowed the state to withhold money from any school district educating undocumented children. The U.S. Supreme Court eventually weighed in and ruled that every child had a right to a basic education, no matter their immigration status. Then, in 2011, the Obama administration sent this letter to school districts across the country. It told school districts they could not ask children about their immigration status when they enrolled, out of fear it would prevent kids from attending school. Flash forward to today, and Republicans are pushing to overturn that ruling
and finally alleviate Texans and Americans alike from this burden.
A House Judiciary Subcommittee hearing on Capitol Hill Wednesday looked to examine the, quote, adverse effects of the Plyer v. Doe Supreme Court ruling. Republicans believe Texas taxpayer dollars are being diverted away from American-born students and argue school districts are suffering. But it's hard to prove that without concrete data.
If states are required to educate illegal immigrant students, they must be allowed to identify the student population status to fully understand and address the adverse effects of Plyer v. Doe.
Overturning the ruling could allow some states to deny certain kids from a basic public education.
I think it would just be completely devastating for kids.
Carlos Eduardo Cornejo Quezada immigrated with his family from Mexico to Texas when he was just 1. He's a product of public school. He believes it would be unfair to immigrant families who want the best for their child.
Many undocumented immigrants are taxpayers with their ITIN numbers and contribute to the same education system they hope their kids can access.
Some others believe denying any kids from a basic education can have a snowball effect.
Because kids out of school have a tendency to attract their peers to leave school as well.
The Supreme Court ruling in the 80s was a narrow 5-4 decision. If the issue was brought back to the current High Court, Republicans feel confident it would be overturned. Legislation currently being considered in Tennessee could spark legal challenges that end up before the Supreme Court. The bill would allow public schools to refuse to enroll students who are unlawfully present in the United States. The Tennessee State Senate is scheduled to take up this bill later this week. Well, thank you again for joining us here on State of Texas. I'm Dylan McCall.
Hey, Texas news. The first DJ, about 4 minutes.
And shown in the United States history.
Flying Eagle? I think it is.
January the 20th.
Oh, wait.
2021.
Maybe not. Did we play this one?
So this person who said that, oh, the cannons are always there. They said this before.
Played this one. I think we
January
did.
the 20th, 2025. And then January the 19th, President Trump said, Arlington, you didn't see any cannons. Where are they? And every other president they've shown go to Arlington, you don't see the cannons. Obama, Bush, where are the cannons?
I thought I did. Moving on here. Q just came out with his video. Yeah.
Appealing. That is not appealing. What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. So once again, the two greatest trolls of all time have come together for good. Now, you know, there's nothing wrong with using your powers, right? As long as you use your powers for good. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are two of the greatest trolls that have ever lived. If there's a better one, please comment below and let me know who it is. But I can't think of anyone. So we're about 36 days, over a month into this DHS unfunded fiasco that the leftists and the swamp have put us in. Now, the downside to that is while they're playing these nasty political games, we have a dire situation because we have people like the folks over at the TSA that haven't been paid in over a month now. Now, you put that together with the a month and a half, almost 2 months for the last shutdown during the fall. I mean, these people are working for, well, over 3 months at this point without any type of pay in the last year. This is wrong, and all for political points. Now, the Democrats will sit there and say, well, this was done so that we could get rid of ICE. Well, ICE is funded. So this is stupid. You're not hurting ICE. You're not winning any political points here. You're simply putting people out of work and asking them to still show up. You're not making the country any safer. If you truly believe that the TSA, which we could debate about that, but if you believe that the TSA is a necessary function to keep terrorists out of the United States and off of planes, well, then how are you helping the people of the United States? Not even to speak of all of the travel snafus that we're having, because a lot of people have had to go find new jobs. So TSA is completely underfunded. But I'll get into this expert trolling opportunity. So they've been doing everything they can to Trump has been doing everything he can to get the Democrats to go ahead and pass this funding bill for the DHS. Now, with that being said, finally, 2 days ago, Elon Musk comes out and says, you know what? Fine. I'm tired of this. This is crazy. I'm going to personally pay for the funding of the TSA's salary. I'm going to pay all the TSA salaries out of my own pocket. Now, the interesting part about this, I don't believe that Elon Musk specifically has that much cash on hand anyway, from everything that I've seen. But of course, the Democrats don't understand that. They don't understand how billionaires actually keep their funding. In their mind, if a person is worth $10 billion, they have $10 billion just sitting there in the bank someplace, which we know is not true. But at any rate, we now come less than 24 hours later, and Chuck Schumer is saying we have to fund TSA. These people are working for free, and there should not be a situation in our country where we are asking people to work for free. We must fund the TSA now. Now, please explain to me all of this time, over a month, where people have begged from the right to please fund DHS, fund TSA, and have even introduced bills, and the Democrats have shot it down. All it takes is one tweet from Trump and Elon, and immediately the Democrats change their mind. They cannot have a situation where any political points are being given to the right. They cannot have it. They can't have Elon Musk, after all of his support for Donald Trump, be seen as some sort of reasonable, rational person and also a hero to those on the right. They cannot see it. You would think they would welcome it. Democrats are always trying to get billionaires to pay their fair share, but they cannot have it. So immediately they are working to get the TSA funded. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, the first Q one. I got a 10-minute one on a high school student, I think, speech.
We have a moral duty to take action. These statements, made by Extinction Rebellion, reflect the climate alarmist narrative that has continued to escalate across the Western world. Hysteria over climate change can be seen throughout history, from the human sacrifices of the Aztecs to bring back rain, to the Salem witch trials to eliminate the women who they blamed for crop failure during the Little Ice Age. Today, the climate industrial complex is funded by trillions of dollars, seeking to control what we buy, eat, and where we are allowed to travel, all in the name of sustainability and achieving net zero carbon emissions. This fear campaign is rooted in the belief that we will not look into the data ourselves, but instead look to the governments and to the media to tell us what is true. Today, I will demonstrate that temperatures fluctuate and are not unprecedented, and that natural disasters are not getting worse. I will also highlight the unreliability of climate data and the role of CO2. Ultimately, I will present scientific evidence to show that we are not in a climate crisis. Historical temperature records indicate that we are not in the climate crisis Western governments claim we are. Looking at a graph of the past 65 million years from Noah, the Earth today seems to be in a particularly cool period. In fact, the Earth is still coming out of an ice age. History demonstrates that life has existed and thrived in much warmer temperatures, and that temperatures have been much higher without the human influence of industrial CO2 emissions. Historical temperature records indicate that the temperature of the Earth naturally fluctuates over time, as it has for the past 65 million years. In just the past 2,000 years, there have been 2 warm periods and 2 cold periods. The Roman warm period, also called the Roman optimum, was known as a time of prosperity. This, of course, goes against the entire narrative that warming threatens human life. Following the Roman warm period came the Cold Dark Age, the Medieval warm period, and the Little Ice Age. The current warming from 1800 onwards is the warming of recovery from the Little Ice Age. However, temperatures are still cold compared to distant times and continue to visibly fluctuate. Given this evidence, the 3 degrees Fahrenheit that scientists and news pundits claim is the end of civilization is not cause for alarm because it is not unprecedented and because temperatures will continue to fluctuate. Today, the argument for climate change is rooted in the belief that warmer weather and CO2 emissions have been causing natural disasters to become more frequent and more violent. However, after studying hurricane and wildfire data, it became clear that actual activity goes against this global warming narrative. This graph from the Bulletin of the American Meteorological Society shows the number of hurricanes in the U.S. per year since 1900, showing a slight downward trend for the past 120 years. The strength and duration of hurricanes shows a similar lack of crises. A graph from the National Hurricane Research Laboratory illustrates the North Atlantic hurricane intensity from 1920 to 2016, where there is evidently no trend. However, the data presented to the public by the 2014 National Climate Assessment of the United States is limited to the portion highlighted in red, creating an illusory upward trend. This graph, starting in 1920, shows that the number of acres burned by wildfires in the U.S. has been decreasing. Similarly, the number of acres burned globally since 1900 has steadily declined as well. Ultimately, the presented evidence goes against the narrative that anthropogenic CO2 emissions has been making the weather worse. To understand the science behind the climate crisis claims of today, it is necessary to highlight the unreliability of available data. This is most evident in the disparity between climate model predictions and the observed data. In this graph illustrating temperature change, the blue line represents data taken from weather balloons, matching up well with the green line, which represents data taken from satellites. However, the red line represents the climate model used by the UN IPCC to predict future global warmings. These observations show that actual warming is about 1/3 of what is predicted. Temperature measurements are greatly affected by what is called the urban heat island effect. Since concrete picks up heat, temperatures taken in cities are much higher than those taken in rural areas. For example, in a thermal radiation map of the city of Paris, the middle of the city produces a deep red color representing heat, while the rural areas around the city project a green to blue color representing milder temperatures. This gap represents one way that climate alarmists can instill fear by embellishing data to serve their agenda. Perhaps the greatest tool of the climate industrial complex is the supposed evil of CO2. However, CO2 is not the control knot for climate change, mainly because it is only 0.04% of the atmosphere. I'll say it again, CO2 is only 0.04% of the atmosphere. In a visual comparison of CO2 to the other atmospheric gases, it shows how barely negligible the gas is in comparison. Although the mainstream media has tried to alarm its consumers with the accelerating emissions of CO2, the Earth is actually in a CO2 famine. Current levels are about 423 parts per million. However, in the past, they have been at least 1,000 parts per million and have likely reached 8,000 parts per million. While the narrative states that CO2 directly causes the rise in temperature, it has been found that quite the opposite is true. The relationship between CO2 and temperature is not that more CO2 causes a rise in temperature, but that a rise in temperature causes an increase in CO2. Carl Wunsch, professor of oceanography at MIT, found that when the ocean warms, more CO2 is released into the atmosphere. On the other hand, when the ocean is cold, CO2 is absorbed into the water. In a graphical correlation between temperature and CO2, it is found that when a rise in temperature occurs, a rise in CO2 follows a few centuries later. In this graph, CO2 rose 800 years later in response to a surge in temperature. While CO2, like everything else in the world, may have some small factor in climate, there are countless of other factors affecting temperature. Some examples are volcanic activity, cosmic rays, and the sun. This highlights how if we were to limit CO2, it would only stunt biodiversity while having almost no effect on temperature because of the fact that it is only one small factor in a sea of greater causes. Some call CO2 the gas of life because it plays an instrumental role in the process of photosynthesis. It comes as no surprise that most farmers use high levels of it in their greenhouses to produce a better crop. In this picture, 4 pine trees are shown growing at different levels of added CO2, from normal atmospheric CO2 to an added 150, 300, and eventually 450 parts per million. More CO2 is evidently beneficial for plant growth. Physicist Lubos Model, former professor at Harvard, summarized the importance of CO2 in saying, "It is the key compound that plants need to grow, and indirectly that every organism needs to have food at the end." It is clear that CO2 is not, as the New York Times frighteningly put, a tiny bit of arsenic or cobra venom, nor will it cause famine, as many claim. If CO2 increases, it will only green the planet and increase the food supply.
It's about over.
Across the Western world, climate change has been coined as an existential threat to mankind. While this sentiment is not new over the course of history, as it can be seen through the Aztecs and even in the Salem witch trials, it has once again become relevant in today's culture. With policies such as carbon taxes and individual CO2 budgets being proposed in our governments, we begin to see the climate issue creep into every part of our lives. This is why I found it necessary to pursue the truth in the climate debate. In my speech, I presented the scientific evidence behind historical temperature change and natural disasters, discovering the unreliability of climate data and the small role of CO2 in climate and its essential role in biodiversity. As a result, I've concluded that the climate crisis is a hoax that we must arm ourselves against by pursuing the truth and by looking into the data ourselves.
Well said. I think that an A+ you guys for that student. I know I couldn't have done that. A couple more short ones, and then we'll do Billy, and then Mel.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming.
First, I want to thank God and Terry Rollins for this opportunity to be here today. We're fourth and fifth generations, sixth generation is there as well. Department of Ecology fined me $267,000 and ordered me to restore wetlands that weren't wetlands. And our experts estimate that cost over $3.7 million. Of the 32 stock watering ponds, the Department of Ecology did inspections on 4. The remaining were done through satellite imagery, and we still got fined on those. And they also launched special inquiry judge statute proceeding used for organized crime. Additional, they investigated this, but we were never charged. And to this day, we still don't know what they were investigating us for. Ecology used that parallel civil cases to basically gain advantage in the civil cases, and they kept us silent. And that was a very tough period for us last year. Our employee was hauled into court 4 different times. One time he basically was, they wouldn't allow representation. It was only the judge and the 2 AG attorneys were in there. He could not have legal representation. But hopefully that's passed through the statute of limitations. To be clear, we have done nothing wrong that hasn't been done on our property and all across the Western United States for generations as far as cleaning out stock ponds. Thousands and thousands of ranchers are in the same situation, and the Department of Ecology and the state of Washington is trying to use us as a precedent-setting case. And on behalf, we want to speak for other Washington cattle producers and property owners that can't be here today, like Chuck Rogers, Bob Griff, Ron and Robert Fody, Bill McIrvin, and the ranchers in Stevens County. But more importantly, we want to discuss solutions on how we can solve this for all of us. We've talked to Karen and Representative Comer already about these things. There's some solutions. And really grateful, very grateful for listening to us and your enthusiasm to try to help us solve these problems.
Okay, Texas news. Okay, next one's 8 minutes. And then I think we'll do Mel. Then we'll do Billy. But it's longer. This next one's 8 minutes. Where is it? Okay, finally go. I'm not sure about this one.
And all personnel sworn to silence. But the question is, why would they shut down the most powerful tool they ever had? According to the researchers, they didn't shut it down because it stopped working. They shut it down because of what it was telling them. Remember that convergence point we talked about? According to insiders, what the looking glass device showed them was this. No matter what they did, no matter how they manipulated events, no matter what moves they made, they lose. The timeline convergence meant their ability to control the future was ending. The script they've been writing for humanity was being overwritten by something bigger, whether you want to call it collective consciousness, divine intervention, or just the natural evolution of humanity waking up. They could see themselves losing control, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Dan Burish claimed that the looking glass showed a future where humanity awakens to the truth, where the old systems of control collapse, where people reclaim their sovereignty. And past 2012, that future became inevitable. They couldn't rewrite the script anymore. What happens next is something that might actually explain why your reality feels broken. The elites who had been using Project Looking Glass for decades suddenly found themselves staring at an unavoidable future where they lose everything. So what would you do if you had unlimited money, unlimited resources, and unlimited desperation? You'd try to break out of the timeline itself. That brings us to the Large Hadron Collider. CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, operates the most powerful and expensive scientific instrument ever built, a 17-mile ring buried underground on the Swiss-French border. When it's running at full capacity, it smashes protons together at nearly the speed of light. The official story? It's for studying the fundamental building blocks of reality, understanding particle physics, discovering things like the quote-unquote God particle. But many people believe that CERN was actually built to manipulate the fabric of reality itself. Think about the timeline. Early 2000s. Project Looking Glass shows timeline convergence. All futures lead to their defeat. 2008. CERN is completed and begins initial tests. 2009 to 2010. First major high-energy collisions. The Mandela effect suddenly enters public consciousness. 2012. CERN announces discovery of the God particle. The exact year Looking Glass couldn't see past. Coincidence? Or a last-ditch attempt to alter the locked timeline by literally smashing reality at the quantum level. So here's the theory. CERN was built as a timeline weapon, a last desperate attempt by the people in control to break free from the future that Project Looking Glass had locked them into. By creating extreme quantum conditions, they hoped to create a fork in the timeline, a branching point, an escape route. They couldn't rewrite the future with Looking Glass anymore, so they tried to shatter the present and create a new timeline branch where they could regain control. And here's the thing. It might have partially worked. When we look at things like the Mandela effect, it isn't our collective memory failing us. It's evidence that something in our timeline definitely shifted. But even if CERN successfully merged timelines or created a branch point, it didn't save them. Because the Looking Glass was right. No matter what reality they jump to, no matter what timeline they create, the endpoint is the same. You can't use quantum physics to escape a locked timeline convergence. You can only create chaos in the present, which is exactly what they did. The Mandela effect isn't proof they succeeded. It's proof they tried and failed. And in the process, they made reality unstable enough that we can all feel the glitches. Another sign that they are manipulating the fabric of reality is our shared experience of time itself. Does it seem like last year flew by in the blink of an eye? You're not imagining it. Because it's not just you, it's everyone. Time is accelerating for all of us. And there are reasons for that that go way deeper than just getting older. Mainstream science tells us that time appears to speed up as we age because of how our brains process information and create memories. When you're 5 years old, 1 year represents 20% of your entire life. It feels massive. But when you're 50, 1 year is only 2% of your life. Same amount of time, but proportionally, it feels much shorter. But what if time itself is actually speeding up? Some researchers claim that the resonance frequency of Earth, the Schumann resonance, has been increasing over the past few decades. This resonance is essentially Earth's heartbeat, and some believe it affects human consciousness and our perception of time. Maybe this is related to the timeline convergence that Project Looking Glass predicted. What if after 2012, reality became less stable? What if we're living in a world where timelines are still merging, still fluctuating, and our consciousness is trying to keep up with multiple versions of events happening simultaneously? And what if that was part of the strategy? If there's an inevitable awakening happening, if they know they are losing control, then what would their strategy be? Distraction. Constant, overwhelming distraction. Think about what's happened since 2012. Social media exploded and became addictive by design. News cycles became 24/7 outrage machines. Entertainment became endless streaming content. Every spare moment filled with notifications, alerts, and dopamine hits. If you're constantly scrolling, constantly consuming, constantly reacting, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to question. You don't have time to wake up. The acceleration of time you're feeling, part of it is psychological, but part of it might be intentional. Keep everyone moving so fast they can't pause to see what's really happening. Research shows that when you're in a state of constant digital stimulation, your brain doesn't form deep memories. Days blur together, years disappear. You feel like time is flying by because you're not actually living, you're consuming. And there's one more piece of the puzzle that you've probably noticed, and that's the cultural recycling loop. For nearly a century, pop culture followed a predictable, natural heartbeat known as the 20-year nostalgia cycle. It was simple. It takes exactly 20 years for a child to grow up, enter their peak creative years, and begin recreating the world of their youth. In the 70s, we had Grease and Happy Days, a desperate reach back to the 50s. In the 2000s, we had the 80s neon explosion. It was how cultural memory worked, and there was a rhythm to it. But around the year 2012, that rhythm stopped. We are no longer producing original stories. We are producing echoes. We are currently living through a total collapse of creative novelty. Every major motion picture is a reboot, a remake, or a sequel of something created 40 years ago. Research buried in classified archives, and all personnel.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that one. All right, all of us get ready. Let's get this hour, 8-minute Mel video. It must be her. Okay. It was her end.
Colorado Mum has got her hand up straight away. Welcome, 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 everybody. Okay, so there is a heck of a lot of things going on, isn't there? So I hope you can hear me. Can everyone hear me? Just need a sound check because Big Mike, you're there. Can you unleash yourself? Actually, I'll have to unleash you. You don't think the video's on? Okay. Camera. There's my Coles bag. You know, I've been shopping this week. Colorado Mama, can you just do a quick sound check for me, please, love?
That's what I was doing. You're good to go.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah, because we've had technical difficulties, haven't we? Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been like that all day in Telegram. All day in Telegram's been like this.
Yeah, and it's good to know because that means things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. So here's some interesting things that are going on as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats because there's a couple of really big important things that need to be spoken about. It was very, very interesting about the currencies the other day, and we had a big discussion regarding the Iranian rial. So I do not want you to go into panic. What I'm going to explain is something that needs to be reminded, and for me, myself too, about things such as you know and understand what you actually hold. Now, it is my understanding, according to a very strong person who is actually involved in buying and selling currencies, that the Iranian rial is not legal tender to sell and buy in the United States. So do your research because I looked it up myself. So I want you to be aware of these things, not to be fearful, but we can discuss it in the Q&A a little bit more. But please understand that know what you actually hold. We will talk about it a little bit more. I'm sure someone will definitely bring that up in the Q&A, but that is just a prompter to make sure that we talk about that. So let's get into the fundamental news, ladies and gentlemen. The fundamentals are, of course, in the blockchain and digital assets sector. They are looking for many, many talented people in very high demand. So we see a lot of these AI centres and that coming into play. This is a great opportunity. Do not see this as a bad thing. We have to let go of that bad connection of all AI is not bad. Some of it is extremely good. And moving forward, let's go into a little bit about digital assets and then we'll get into some really cool stuff. There is a new digital currency in the Marshall Islands. Boom, another country, or another group of islands, I should say, that are coming together. They're there to assist in that. The reason that they put their digital currency together, the cover story for that is that they're expecting a universal income. Another big boom, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that important? Because there's obviously going to be some form of event. This is a creation, okay? This was created to give everyone a universal income. So the Marshall Islands, new digital income, and also they're working on their own stable coin. Their stable coin comes under USDM1. Very interesting. But know that these things are very important moving forward because they are, as I said, part of what our expectations are that there is going to be a global event, and they're saying that this is their universal income program. So get excited that these things are happening. Let's go to something that's even bigger in the digital aspect side of things. Evernorth, North Pole, offline, off planet, ladies and gentlemen. This, of course, what I'm talking about is the ripple-backed Evernorth files S4 to go public via SPAC, aiming to become a NASDAQ-listed XRP treasury company. There's your new treasury, ladies and gentlemen, on the Ripple blockchain, and XRP is your new treasury company. We all know this because we've seen the integration. They utilized the Ripple blockchain and the Stellar network to be able to integrate these central banks into our treasuries, because treasury, of course, is gold, and we're going back to a gold back. So that's the simplest explanation that I can give you. But that was a huge, huge move, Evernorth, ladies and gentlemen. That was massive. What was also very, very interesting is, of course, Morgan Stanley have filed an S1 for a spot Bitcoin ETF under the ticker, or they call it a ticker, but under the algorithm of course, MSBT, which is Morgan Stanley Bitcoin. My question is, and I have always stated,
whatever, send chair, please, you're be respectful, and that's your opinion, and that's all we can say. It's opinions and entertainment only.
Stated. I don't see anyone else talking about this, but I still believe that there was a very big reason, of course, why DJT took.
If you don't like it, you can leave.
Control of the mining of Bitcoin in the USA. Therefore, I'm saying if Morgan Stanley and many other companies and countries such as El Salvador are utilizing a new Bitcoin as an asset, because you can only have an asset if you're having an ETF, an exchange tradable fund. So just putting that out there, and I'm going to keep putting it out there until other people get the gist of it. Okay, Bitcoin went to zero a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. It came back up through the Orange Man and came back up on the Stellar network. Therefore, it is an asset. Get over the fact that Bitcoin was what it was, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand Morgan Stanley filed a Bitcoin ETF. Therefore, it has to be an asset. You need to have an asset when you have an exchangeable, tradable fund. Boom. End of story. Let's go to Africa, though. So Africa have had an operation. Now, I'm trying to think like a South African here, so if I pronounce it incorrectly, my sincere apologies to all of you in South Africa and beyond. Operation Balindalala. This is, of course, the reform initiative in South Africa. Now, I've been talking about South Africa for quite some time and explaining to people what I'm seeing in the global news is how Russia has been supporting South Africa and Africa as a nation to become a one nation and they're doing a lot of structural reforms. Now, what they've actually done, you've got to remember, South Africa is, of course, part of the BRICS conglomerate, which is your quantum or integrated system of the integration of quantum. Okay, so this all ties in together, and this is why this is quite important, because this is the structural reform that they needed to build in South Africa for them to be able to get the infrastructure. So you have to have infrastructure first to build, to integrate into your economic reform, which is your banking system. So they had to build the structures first and then integrate it into the economic reform, which they are doing ASAP. And of course, this then allows us to have that currency reset that we so much are waiting for. So that will give them, of course, a full recovery. I believe, as I said, South Africa and Zimbabwe will be a very, very strong conglomerate as they move forward. But that was very big find. So thank you, of course, to the beautiful Love Trumpy for sending me that article as well, because all these different operations that we've heard about in the past, and this particular one, of course, is focused on South Africa. What they're actually doing is this article that I'm going to drop after the show talks about the insights of this particular operation for other countries such as Chile, Poland, India, Germany, and Argentina.
Wow.
Obviously, all come under that operation. It's quite interesting that they selected those 5 countries to connect with the operations going on in South Africa. Again, like I said, they're all doing trade deals and that as well together. That would also involve, as I said, the technology that's being brought to the forefront. Chile does have a lot of rare earth minerals that probably aren't required for this operation going into the economic reform and this, that, and all the rest of it. So it's amazing that we're seeing all these countries come together in so many different ways. But a very nice read for all of you after the show to have a look at. Well, did everyone know too that the US also gave the green light, delivering the sale of the Iranian oil that has already been loaded prior to the sanctions? Those sanctions were then lifted by the US Treasury, ladies and gentlemen. The US Treasury were the ones that lifted the sanctions on those ships to offload that oil. So very, very interesting. How much power does the US Treasury actually have? Anyway, let's go to some more big, strong fundamentals. Let's look at the currencies of the countries that are finalising IMF deals. This is very, very important because this has also got to do, of course, with the currency reset. So things are being signed off. I've said this before. Things are being signed off in the old system, and they need to. They need to close the business, so to speak. So we're seeing massive deals continuing on with the IMF, where they are ending their old slavery as their own countries are signing off. What I'm actually seeing is these discussions that are going on at the IMF are very, very exciting, well, especially for me, because I see that what they're doing is they're either extending their fund facility from the IMF to continue the structural reform that they need. That's why that story regarding South Africa remains so important. So as that they continue to put the infrastructure in place, because then the next part of the IMF, which I believe is the new underscore of IMF, is of course the Resilience and Sustainability Facility. So what they're doing, looking at the research that I've done, is that they're using up all of those old funds to do all of the structural. And then, of course, as I said, once all of that has been implemented and the countries have signed off, then they actually get to come in and do the Resilience and Sustainability Facility. This is like a new branch under the IMF, because they never gave a shit before. So, hello. Wake up and smell the roses, ladies and gentlemen. The IMF and the World Trade Organization have made changes. We were talking about this yesterday regarding the World Health Organization and things like that as well. Understand that these implementations, these changes that are going on, as I said, is the closing of that book or closing the curtain on all that old nefarious stuff. They are under control. They are not there to harm you any longer. This is just an umbrella for them to close off. This is so, so important because once all these countries sign off their slavery to the IMF, understand, as I said, the IMF and World Trade Organization work together. They are working alongside of BRICS. We already know that. We've seen the evidence of all of that. We've reported on all of that as well. Well, that also came, of course, from the World Economic Forum. So understand this is a complete restructure. This is your new world. You may not like it because you don't like the names. Tough titties. But anyway, there was another big article regarding the restructure of the IMF. They're talking about May 2026, which is not that far away. It doesn't mean that we're not going to RV or anything like that. What I'm saying is they're saying that all countries technically should be balanced. Their balance sheets should be completed. That's what we want to see because all countries need to be sovereign. Yay! The big thing is, even though they're saying May they're going to completely restructure the IMF, that will be public. But here's an interesting, not a date per se, but a very interesting marker. Because this tells you, as I said, the restructure of all of these nefarious beings. On April the 9th, they are talking about a curtain raiser meeting is set for the IMF to release something. April 9th. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Did I get goosebumps when I read that little baby. A curtain raiser. Let's keep that marker in check and we will watch that one unfold, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's going to be a massive. They're calling it a curtain raiser. I'd love to see them demolish the NATO as well, but that's another story, isn't it? Let's go to Iraqi airspace. What's going on there? Well, they've come out and they said that they're going to remain closed until Sunday, 12 noon. What do they know that we don't know, ladies and gentlemen? The Iraqi airspace will be open for business after Sunday at 12 noon.
We're about halfway.
Now, yeah, as I said, what do they know? We don't know.
16 minutes into it.
They wouldn't be opening up their airspace, ladies and gentlemen, unless it was safe. Do you see my point? Get excited. What's happening in Vietnam? Of course, we all carry their currencies and what have you, but Hanoi starts construction on their ring road in Vietnam. That's been around for a long time because I was sort of there when they started that. Anyway, that's another story. Egypt, of course, we just saw a beautiful article out of Egypt transforming their fast rail links as well, going into their new capital. Cairo is no longer their capital, into their new capital. Very interesting, good story. There you go. What else is happening in Vietnam? Of course, Epson. Of course, Epson we have always known to be part of the cartridges and printers and this, that, and all the rest of it. Well, they are embracing technologies with Vietnam to keep the sustainability in their textile industry as well. That's a very, very exciting piece of news coming out of there as well. It is kind of sad, and it isn't. I mean, we look at the traditions that we're seeing that, you know, are disappearing. So I would still love to see their artwork. It was interesting. I saw a TikTok video the other day reminding me, of course, reminding us about how they would wove all these mats as maps. So the mats are maps, so to speak. So there you go. So keep an eye out on all of that. Of course, we often talk about nuclear. This is not about nuclear bombs, ladies and gentlemen. This is about nuclear power. The nuclear power, of course, is an option to support the AI-driven electricity. Again, that's got to do with, of course, the Bitcoin mining. But anyway, that's another story. The demand, of course, on the AI-driven electricity, these AI data centers that you are seeing up, are drawing an excessive amount of electricity, almost like a Bitcoin mine. But the issue that I'm starting to see, though, is, of course, the nuclear power. Are these actually generating, of course, all the connection, as I said yesterday in a call, is this our new connection from those data centers into our free energy? Okay, so we're reverting. You've got to flip these things sometimes to get a full grip of what's actually going to happen. So nuclear power energy or nuclear energy is certainly something that we need to keep an eye on. I don't think it's got anything to do with a nuclear war. I think this is a war on the power, meaning electricity, meaning currency. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough about my dribble. It is over to you now to your chance to have your Q&A. So take it away. Well, Colorado Man, you've already been unlocked and unleashed. So if you have anything else to add to that, go right ahead.
I'm multitasking now. Have somebody jump in front of me here real quick.
Okay, then. That's all right. That's quite okay. Who else would like to say hello? There we go. Big Mike's going to say hello. Finally, I'm getting to come on here and speak. Hey, champion, how are you?
Can you hear me?
I can certainly hear you. Can you hear me? That's the most important thing.
Okay, the big question is about the Iranian rial.
Oh,
is it legal? Is it legal to buy in the U.S.?
Well, it's not through the exchanges, no. But this is the double-edged sword. So this is where I sit with it. Although exchange centers or dealing in currency dealers, they have been informed, and it's there. If you research this, ladies and gentlemen, it actually states it's illegal to sell it. So here's my gist on all of that, okay, is that it's not illegal to hold it, but how are you going to exchange it if it's not actually, and I've talked about this before, know that in certain countries, I've talked about how the Iraqi dinar here in Australia is not on our exchange list. That's what I'm saying. So until it comes up on your exchange list, you may not be able to exchange it there. But in saying that also, understand when this flip happens, there could be a very good reason why it's not on your exchange list. It's because of the manipulation that would go on if it was deemed to be sanctioned as it is now. I think what will happen is that, as I have said, it is possible, and it's just a possibility. You do not have to throw them away or panic about this. Will it be then connected to, say, here in Australia, Iraqi dinar could be easily pegged to the Kuwaiti dinar? Do you see my point? Does the Iranian rial get connected to the Saudi Arabia rial, which is RIYAL, not RIAL? This is what I'm saying. We live in a very high technical world, ladies and gentlemen. It does not mean that it's illegal to hold it, depending on how much you're holding, I suppose, unless you're doing other nefarious things with it or what, who knows. But I think holding it or purchasing it online is not really the issue here. The issue is that it is technically illegal to buy and sell it as a currency. If you were a currency exchanger or a dealer, whatever you call them over there, then you need to follow those policies and procedures. That's what I'm saying. So just a little thing, a little side note, and this is what we talk about also in South Africa, where They have been told too. They get caught. If a policeman comes into you in South Africa or some of the nations in Africa, and they do a raid on your property and they find currencies, they will find any reason whatsoever to still jail you, and because you're holding currency. Okay? So please, please, please look after yourselves, know what you hold. And this is part of, I think, too, Big Mike, the understanding that you know what you're actually doing, like, or what you actually hold. This is not about some people just get online, they buy all these things and they think that it's going to be happy days. There could be some little glitches there that we're not aware of, but please be and understand and beware. So I just, as a precaution, when that was brought to my attention, it's just to make sure that we duly note that we actually, know what's going on there. So
Thank you very, very much. My wife has a question for you. My wife has a question for you.
Yeah,
The
Special K has a question for you.
Special K has a question.
Okay. I heard, rumor has it, on March 25th, the UST note is supposed to be coming out. Have you heard anything on that?
I've heard whispers just like you have, honey. What I'm looking for, that's a very good question, Special K. What I'm looking for, and I'm still looking for something else that can substantiate that. And I think that's what, next Wednesday, Thursday, something to that effect.
Wednesday.
There's a lot of other things in the roadmap that are indicating that in the roadmaps, when I talk about roadmaps, I'm talking about what we call white papers in banks and things, this, that, and all the rest of it, where banks are releasing certain things, or you keep an eye on the digital asset world. There's things connecting to, of course, March the 25th. March the 25th, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to look at a different calendar per se, the reason it does get a lot of people excited, and I don't think anyone's really mentioned it yet, but is it Christmas Day, Special K?
Yeah.
I wonder if March the 25th is going to be our Christmas Day. It is March Madness, of course. We're still watching the football. There was an interesting post with the basketball falling down the White House, March Madness. You know, necessarily, as I said, when they said watch the football, that's all sort of an acronym for basketball, isn't it? It's watch the basketball just bouncing. And when I think of bouncing, when you say these things out aloud, this is where it gets really exciting, because does that mean that the market's going to bounce? You know, we talk about bouncing in the markets. So, you know, economists are suggesting, I just saw another clip from Bo. He was saying that, of course, going into next week, he's talking about it, you know, dropping and rising. So that's like a bounce, isn't it? So does that happen to be Christmas Day?
Yeah, I think so.
And see, I had a look around to try and find something substantial to accumulate that one. That I couldn't really find anything directly other than the fact that the bouncing basketball, March Madness, Christmas Day, you know, there's three out of three ain't bad. So, yeah.
And April 1st is New Year's.
Absolutely. And DJT did say something. I'm trying to remember now. He did speak about something happening on April the 2nd. He wasn't going to do it on April the 1st. And of course, you know, then that takes us into, of course, our illustrious marker is Easter. So, Christmas, New Year, Easter. Oh, couldn't get much better than that, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much to the beautiful hosts of Wisconsin. They are absolutely amazing. And boy, did we have some fun up that way. So
Thanks, Mel.
We have some good, no worries at all. Love you all up there in that part of the States. Love you too.
Okay.
So the beautiful, I did
we're about halfway almost.
So Colorado Mama, you're right to go.
I'd like to dovetail on the last one here. He's calling April 2nd Liberation Day for his tariffs.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. He was too. How could that slip from my mind? How terrible of me. I did
You got
say
too many things in your mind.
Okay, so I did see Angel 111 up there as well. If you're still in the house, honey, I will unleash. Great Southern, Cathode, I think. Rach O, I'm going to unmute you too, honey. Oh, Rach, sorry, hon. Rach O. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a... There we go. And Archer, there you are, darling. Beautiful. So there you go. So Great Southern, how are you, darling?
Oh, it's Archer. You said Angel.
Oh, there's Archer. Oh, you. Well, the others haven't popped up on the screen yet, so go for it, Archer. Sorry.
Well, you said 1111, so I'm like, I think I'm the only 1111 on the board right now.
Oh, I think so, honey. I don't check the boards. I don't have moderators or anything like that. It's just me. So,
I know,
but it's good to catch up with you and how things on your side.
Doing all right. Just another day in paradise. Looking forward to our beautiful new future. And I kind of wanted to let you know and others know. I had to help somebody tonight that got scammed, and it's a new one on me, and I've helped a lot of people who've been scammed, and I've heard of it but never seen it before. This lady walked into a coffee shop with her Wi-Fi on, and the only explanation is she connected to a scammer's hotspot sitting in the corner of the coffee shop who wiped out her decent wallet. I tried everything trying to figure out what happened. And I said, one of the last questions I asked her, you didn't happen to walk in a coffee shop after you looked at your wallet? So everybody, please be careful. Turn off your Wi-Fi when you walk out the house so it does not automatically connect to any public Wi-Fi, because they can get access and they will wipe you out.
Yeah, and that's a huge reminder, and thank you for that, sweetheart. And I know that I don't know if I shared this yet with you, Archer, but the same thing happened to me. Someone tapped the phone and's been taking the yearlings out of my lobster wallet that was gifted to me. So there you go. So it's only going to take them to put their phone next to your phone as they're shaking your hands and this, that, and all the rest of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. They tap. Do they have to tap it?
They tap on your phone. They don't have to. There's this way where they connect you, and they can actually steal on all of that off your phone. So hence why I was blessed. And when it happened, of course, one of my other phones, which is just my personal phone. So I have two phones. I have one that I use for this, and of course, and then one is my personal phone, and my personal phone went missing inadvertently at the same time. And this is when I was traveling on buses and this, that, and all the rest of it. And it's quite a wild story, because and the reason I say these things publicly is so that people don't be upset or concerned. What it is to show us that we need more protection. It was when I was on my way to Jacksonville, and then of course Jacksonville, and this is what I loved about America. Someone gifted me a very strong VPN, and that has protected me from 21 other times that they have attempted to tap in and do stuff. So it is something that to be aware of. Make sure your Wi-Fi, your location. I think there's quite a few TikTok videos and YouTubes that can show you all that. Go in and have a look on how you can secure, by not just understand too that when you unlock your location, there's 20 other ones that you have to unlock, okay? Or lock, I should say, to make sure that your location is actually off. Just don't think by pressing location that location's going to cut it, because your location could be on the maps that you use, It could be on another app that you use. That's why I never ever allow my location when I'm doing, say, grocery shopping and I'm doing my grocery list and things like that as well. I always take, no, you're not going to have my precise location. I'll decide when I want my location on. So there is, like I said, YouTube videos out there. It's not to be fearful. It's not to be angry at the world. You take responsibility. And as I said, be wary too that the technology that some of these people, sick people have, and these are sick people, not everyone does this, only the sick people, can actually, if they come in certain contact of your phone, it's like an iCloud type situation where you may not realize that you even have an iCloud on as well that you may or may not be aware of, and they iCloud details from your phone as well. And this gentleman, it's quite a wild story, but he was going to the same place as I was, and he happened to be from Australia. What are the odds of that? Anyway, that's another fun story because it's called Mayhem Mel for a reason, yeah? But, you know, these things are set to try us, and it's a huge reminder. So thank you, Archer. This lovely lady does so much work in the background. She's a true humanitarian and has taken responsibility for a lot of those things that may or may not have occurred. So congratulations on you, and thank you for that little reminder as well. That we all need to take responsibility.
Chiming in as well. I didn't know that you could get your phone next to another phone and have an issue
they use it through an iCloud. Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. So
thank you. All right.
My pleasure. Rachel, how are you, darling?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Mel. I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Oi. But I'm a Kiwi.
Love it. Oh, that's okay. I still call you an Aussie, so I don't get to say that very often.
Like 27 years, so yeah, I think.
Oh, there you go. You still got that little twitch in your voice, but hey.
Yeah, as soon as I mention New Zealand, I'm gone.
So what's happening in Melbourne? What's happening in your part of the world, honey?
I'm just getting really excited. Like, things are just happening. Bang.
Yeah, they certainly are.
They're really happening so fast. I don't know whether you know or other people would know this, but King John Smarty's birthday is on the 25th of March.
Really?
Yep.
How convenient is that?
So you believe for a good birthday present there.
Absolutely, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
100%. 100% amazing.
Well, we should actually do a show on the 25th just to see what happens. Put some energies out there to make it happen and just go boom, let's just get this happening. So I don't know. I've done 36 hours straight. So yeah, we can do that. So,
oh, beautiful.
Who would like to party with me?
Crystalline in the post. I'm just buzzing. It's like
yeah, absolutely. It's pretty good.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. And there is a medbed presentation live tomorrow morning in Australia.
Oh, is there really?
Yes.
Interesting.
And that's
interesting.
On the YouTube of Sky Prince, the original, real one. There is a real one. And there's so many scammers out there, but this is the original one. And yeah, so that's that they are planning, and we'll watch the space. So
okay, well there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's some entertainment for you for tomorrow, that's for sure. So hopefully that goes ahead, and we can get a little bit more clarity on that. So yeah,
that would be amazing, because I think that's a marker. Robert Mueller is, and that's John Podesta. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So, look, I think he was named in the Q post as the first arrest.
Yeah,
so I've never forgotten Mr. Podesta. And thinking
he's a big gatepost. I think he's a big,
absolutely. So we'll wait and see. So. All right, Rach. Well, listen, how's the weather down there anyway, very quickly, before I speak to Rick Murray?
It's kind of warm, actually. It's a bit warm today.
Yeah.
Like, we're sort of up and down, and 1 minute cold, 1 minute hot.
I know. Yeah, I just, we had what we call hot thunder. The sky was blue and there was heaps of thunder, and all of a sudden we had one shower of rain and then it's all cleared up again. So it was. That's why I put my headphones on, because the thunder and that was sort of distracting me. I was about to say, the storm is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. As the storm was coming over, it was quite a cool feeling when I was doing the notes for the show, and next minute there's this thunder, and I'm going, are you telling me that
30 minutes left, you guys.
storm is
Billy
upon us
Dean will be
today?
next, followed by
It was
a
very, very
15-minute
cool.
Very close.
Eric video.
I think so too. I really do.
Yeah,
Well, it's lovely to speak to an Aussie /Kiwi. We love our Kiwis as well. And we look forward to catching up with you very, very soon, honey.
Thank you so much, Mel, for all you do as well. Like, I love your shows.
My pleasure, honey.
Take care.
All right, darling. Love you.
Lots of
Bye.
love.
Rick
Bye.
Murray. Bye, honey. Rick Murray, how are you? Rick's probably still trying to find the speaker, because I don't think he's been up here before.
You're coming in and out too.
Am I? There you go. Thanks, hon. Rick Murray, if you're there and you can hear me, you are. Just unmute yourself, champion.
There we go.
He found it. Stop looking, he says. Stop
This
looking.
Is great. This is great talking to you. I try and listen to you as much as I can. Very informative.
Okay,
I love it when you and Holly get together, and it's double information. Really wonderful.
I know. She sort of she was throwing me under the bus a bit, Rick, the other day.
Really?
She was hoping I would say that there's things going on in the background. And she was kind of like leading me to say, Mel, maybe you can say something,
Really?
But I was, it was there was a lot. Like I said, Rick, there's always a lot going on in the background. And as I said to the beautiful Special K, it's really difficult to try and find something to substantiate it in the actual real world, so to speak, because a lot of this we do, of course, on blind faith. So, but anyway, but Rick, whereabouts are you from? You from the States or in England or where?
I'm over in California. America.
The illustrious state. Yeah, I love. There you go.
It's a dumpster fire.
We'll have to catch up next time I'm over there, champion. We'll have to get together and have a coffee.
All right. Hey, my question is, this is our 250th anniversary, and I've been going through this for I think 4 years now, with all this currency stuff, and the hype gets so almost out of control, where it's going to be tomorrow. In reality, do you think that this will happen before July 4th, 2026?
Could it happen on July the 4th? It's
not on July 4th, but just before.
But before.
Right.
Again, Rick, I don't play that game unless I can substantiate. It's not a game. I mean, it is serious. It is the 250th year, and I think it's significant when you think of the Jubilees. It's supposed to happen every. Oh, Great Southern just popped in. Just wait a minute, darling. Just mute yourself for a second so it doesn't echo, and I'll be right with you, Great Southern. So what happens there is, Rick, is as I said, we don't know the timing. We would expect and hope and pray that it happens before the 4th of July. Yes. What I'm seeing is very interesting. And what I actually try and do, Rick, in everything that I do, is that I have what we call markers, and I mark through what's going to come and what we can substantiate. Like this meeting on April the 9th, for instance, with the IMF, as I said, is the closing off of the actual IMF side of things. So that's huge, because are they going to be, as like I said, I think the announcements for, say, universal income or sovereignty or the currency revaluation may not be actually by Trump and things like that. I think our eyes are always over there, but I think it's going to be something over here, if that makes sense. And that's why I said when a revaluation happens, and it occurred to me yesterday when I was talking to a guy in the currency exchange sector, as he said, Ukraine did a revaluation just recently and we missed it. Does that make sense?
Really?
So, yes. Well, in recent years, not recently, but in
Okay.
recent years, okay? So that's what I say. We're not going to see things unless we know and understand what we actually hold. When you hold it and you study it and you research it, and if you were to invest, if this money that you're holding, say for instance, we look at the fact that you're holding several $1 million worth of Vietnamese dong. Don't look at it how much it's actually you paid for that, but what are you going to do with that investment of 3 million dong? If it wasn't worth a couple of $100 and it's worth 3 million, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to invest in it? So look at your investment of what you actually hold. So those who hold, say, 100 trillion note, what are you going to do with that investment? If you were living on that, how would you treat it differently, wouldn't you? That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You would treat it differently. So treat it as though you have that money already. You want to be keeping an eye on things like the IMF, the World Bank, the Trade Organization. If you're holding Vietnamese dong, you want to know what's going on in Vietnam so that you can understand that there could be a possible potential, I don't know, a mine might pop up in Vietnam that requires investors. Do you see my point, Rick? This is all new to us. We have to keep continuing to educate ourselves about that. And if you aren't, or it becomes too fearful or too scared about investing, then make sure that you invest your time into looking at, well, who is out there to help me with this investment? And that's why we look at other opportunities such as net worth investors and this, that, and all the rest of it. So take what you've got more seriously, because when I did, that's why this young girl gets excited about the changes in the Australian Taxation Office or the IRS, because it's going to benefit you later on to understand this. So if you take your focus off the war, you take your focus off the COVID, you take your focus off everything else, and you invest in yourself and your family and know what you hold, then boy, oh boy, your life changes. You get excited about the littlest things, about, oh, they lifted the sanctions on the oil that's already out there, sitting out there in the ocean. Do you see my point, Rick? Do you see my point?
Yeah. Do you think that I'm not sure how familiar you are with like Wells Fargo or Bank of America or JP Morgan. Do you think they're what do you call them? They're financial advisors are worth seeing, or should we go to a private?
I would go to private. I don't trust banksters, but
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
That's my personal opinion. But in saying that, Rick, understand this. If you're going in with the right mindset and you're looking for something specifically for your project or whatever, God will always lead you to the way. The universe and the creator will always lead you to that way that you need to go. Okay? So tap in to your own energy, get excited with your own intuition and your own energies. This is why this is so important. We get to talk about that when I start going on YouTube very soon. I just picked up another guest, so I'm very excited right now. But my point being is that, so you start with the research. So you can start with, as I said, here in Australia, we have a lawcentral.com.au. And it's a free service to go in and just sort of browse through so that you have some knowledge before you go to these private wealth managers and private wealth management and the banking management. Have a fair bit more understanding about what you would want for your business. You may not understand it fully, but certainly have some understanding, and they may be able to fill in the gaps for you. And if you're still not happy with the person at the bank, your wealth manager at the bank, then definitely look at going private, so to speak. Okay? But first of all, always, always, always make sure that you understand what type of trust, and of course trusts are changing. Have a listen to what the boys from Canada said. Are they fiduciaries? This, that, and all the rest of it. Understand what you're getting into so as you understand what you actually hold. If you focus on that, sweetheart, don't focus on dates. Don't focus on dates, baby.
I have a friend that owns a trust company. So I've already spoken with him and let him. I don't want to get into detail with him about why I'm contacting him, but I told him that I would be seeing him shortly. So hopefully that'll turn about.
Yeah, absolutely. And ask around. That's what I'm saying, honey. If you focus on that and not listen to the guru telling you it's going to happen every day, by the time you get through what you need to get through, you're not going to worry about listening to that every day that it's going to happen, because you'd understand a lot of it is rumor and hearsay. Just remember that.
Yes. Right.
Rumor and hearsay is like Chinese bloody whispers, mate. By the time I get to it, and the fact that, as I said, hand on my heart, I sometimes have to alter or change or remind myself about certain things as well. There's no humility in rumors and hearsay, is there? So when are we going to grow up and put our big boy pants on and say, fuck it, I'm not going to listen to that shit anymore. I'm going to do my own shit. Does that make sense?
You're the only one I listen to.
There you go. But yeah, there is a lot of hopium out there, and hopium will only get you so far.
Yeah.
But sometimes I give a little tough love as well. Don't you worry about that. And I get it. But definitely, yeah.
I don't get excited
it is
like
happening.
I used to.
No, honey, until the money's in the bank. Until the money's
in my account.
So there you go. So you corrected me. I should be saying my account, not my bank. But again, there's another thing about the banking and banking for yourself and that as well. So yeah. So
right.
But I tell you what, Rick Murray, I could talk to you for hours. Your questions, that's very, very cool. So Great Southern, I know I missed you. I know they dropped out, but Rick, thank you very, very much, and we'll look forward to catching up with you on that side of the pond next time for sure. So,
all right. Thank you, Mel. Thank you so much.
No worries at all, champion. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Aussie. Sorry, Great Southern. If you're still there, honey, I'm happy to put you up. I saw it drop out. There you are.
Can you hear us now, Mel?
I can, honey. How are you? Aussie, I'll be with you in a second, honey. Oh, great. Sorry you had to wait there, darling. I saw it, and Aussie, Ascension, I'll be with you in just a moment. So, Great Southern, what's been happening?
Hey, you're all good, Mel. We're just working out your buttons here. We're usually listening to you on the replay, so it's nice to jump in on a live for a change.
Well, that's
just
why
wanted
I
to comment
the
on
time.
Archer 1111 before, but that was really helpful info. I wonder whether putting your phone in flight mode would be any
yeah, possibly.
help.
Again, like I said, honey, that's probably one to look into. Definitely go and have a look at that on YouTube or Google it, Grok it, whatever, and ask the question, hun. It's just something to be. Like I said, don't live in fear about it. Just create a new habit. That's what I do.
That's it.
Focus on
There's good information. You get a couple of sisters here. I'm in Normanville down in South Australia. Got my sister visiting me, and she had a question for you regarding the RV and exchanging Cash, so I'll hand her over.
Yeah. Oh, the
Hi,
sisterly
Mel.
love. Hey,
Yeah.
champion, how are you? The
Very much
sisters
so.
together.
Yep, love your
Beautiful
show.
to hear. Thank you,
Just
darling.
wanted to know, when we exchange our currency, do we have to pay tax on it or not?
The initial currency exchange, my understanding is there's no tax. But again, like I said, not financial advice. So you may like to put some aside if you are intending on purchasing brand new items, that the new flat tax, I think, is about 14 or 15%.
Yep.
But again, speak to advisors and experts on all of that. And this is why I was saying earlier that we need to definitely get educated step by step. There's actually a lot of women's programs actually that are free. Surprise, surprise. I know that Commonwealth Bank and ANZ, now forget the fact they're banks, they're free. They're free advice. Take the advice. Don't worry about the banks. But there is a lot of, as I said, there is a lot of educational things that are out there, especially in the United States. They're doing free programs for veterans and that over there as well. So they all know the expectations, although people themselves wouldn't know that there's an RV happening. What I'm saying is they're just doing their job. But the reason I see and say these things is that why all of a sudden are they educating our veterans and our disabled community on AI and things like that if there's nothing about to happen? Does that make sense?
It does,
yes. So go in and have a look, honey. This is not just about women. If there's programs out there for everyone, but what I'm saying with a group of sisters like that, boy, that's pretty powerful. You sisters can get together and have a session, like I said, through many of the banks have got free sessions for, women understanding finance. And a lot of things do happen over time. We may lose our partners and our husbands or partner was always looking after the finances and things like that as well. And all of a sudden it's like, what do I do with all of this? So keep an eye out on those because they may come in quite handy, those educational, and they're free. Anything that's free, I'm up for it. There's also here in Australia, we also have business platforms. Some of them have been closed down because they lost their funding, but there is business platforms too. As I said, have a look for those cheap ones, lawcentral.com.au and other bits and pieces, and see what you can find in all of those. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. And a shout out there to Rick, his question. That's enlightened me a little bit as to where I can put my thoughts now too.
Excellent. And this is why we have these beautiful Q&As, honey, because I get to meet some really cool people. And as I said, thanks, Rick. It was quite enlightening. So, it's good to hear.
About 12 minutes.
You sisters keep partying hard. Are you got any more questions before I go to Aussie?
No, you're right. If you're ever in Normanville, we'll have a beer.
Absolutely. Have one for me too, chick. I'm telling you.
Thanks, Mel.
No worries at all to the beautiful sisters in arms. How beautiful is that? That is so cute to see that. Aussie, how are you? You've unblocked yourself. Oh, yeah, I certainly can.
Can you hear me, Mel?
Yes, I can.
Excellent.
Oh, that's all right. That's
Thank
okay.
you very much for everything you do.
That's all right, John.
Now, the other day you had a lady on Queensland, who was trying to link other humanitarian groups together. I was wondering if you have contact.
She hasn't contacted me back. She was just involved. She was just letting me know that there was ones in Queensland and that. If I do, I will definitely let you know and or repost it. So yeah, too easy, Aussie. You got a project that you want to put together?
Many projects.
Okay, mate.
For about 16 years.
Oh, there you go.
Research and
that's good.
I know.
Yeah.
Where
so.
We need to be. I've been around people.
Yeah.
Here and there, third world countries, very aware of what this planet needs.
Excellent.
And
well,
the
that
animals and nature itself. There's a lot of
well, I can tell you're a nature boy, so yeah, I can hear the puppy dogs, and yeah, it's lovely. You know, when I came home to Australia, because it was winter over in the States, the first thing I said was, "Oh my gosh, it's so nice to hear the birds singing and all of that as well." So, although I got to see things like squirrels and all that sort of caper over there, God, that was really cool. Geez, it was so nice to come home and to be embraced with birds and animals, and yeah, got a puppy dog where we're staying at the moment too, and so yeah, so it is good. Animals play a very big role in all of this as well, and we have to look after them as ourselves as well. So. Looking forward to that, Ozzy. I'll have to catch up with you if you want to know how to PM me. It's at Micah. You can private message me there, hun. And if I get anything information or you want to chat to me about your projects privately,
8 minutes
you can
left.
certainly do that as well.
Billy Bean will be next.
Okay.
spell your last name.
So the little C thing,
Mel,
yeah. Mel, M-E-L, M-I-C-A.
Yeah.
And then you should be able it'll come up Melissa. So, yeah. So, and yeah, send me a little message first. Don't say too much. Just say, hi, it's Ozzy from your show. And I'll send you a voice message or a video back so you know you're talking to me. And then you can chat some more. So, okay. So, all right, champion. Telegram. Yes.
Is that
copy?
Is that true? Oh, okay.
That's my personal, that's my private message.
You're doing what you're doing.
No worries at all, champion. We're going to have two quick last ones. We're going to have Affy and I think it was Platter. I just unleashed you. Thanks, Ozzy. We'll see you soon, hun. Appreciate you, Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. We'll have two quick last ones, and yeah, I'm just trying to. You too, mate. See ya. Bye. It takes a little while for the feed to come through, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier today, there's a lot of things to look forward to whilst we're waiting for people to come back up. The Iraqi airspace remains closed until Sunday, 12 noon. How significant is that? We'll wait and see. Maybe reading too much into it. We'll see what happens there. Of course, the IMF deals on the 9th. The curtain raiser meeting is on April the 9th from the IMF. That is certainly something to look forward to. A great read, as I said, regarding the Operation Vanilla from South Africa, the reform initiative in South Africa. How is that significant? Of course, that is with the BRICS. The Morgan Stanley, the digital assets, the Evernorth, that is very, very big coming out of Ripple. And of course, as I said, the Marshall Islands digital currency is now being released in preparation for their universal income. So that's where it's going to get very, very exciting that we're starting to see the little islands, not little islands, but how everything is coming together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like that's it. That's not coming through very well on the fast on the feed. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night from me. We look forward to seeing you very, very soon. If anything, some arises.
Okay. Her Sunday Intel, Sunday and Wednesday, she comes out. So our big video of the week there. I got a couple of photos and a couple of short ones before we do Billy Bean. And then Derek, I'll probably end it with Derek. So here's finally go. They got that black swan thing there in this photo there. That's your chicken. That was there. I got a 2-minute one coming up here that everybody that we haven't heard in a long time. Yes, you.
Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. I'm Chuck Norris. You know, many people say that I look like Chuck Norris. Yeah, it's true. You know, it's really true because, yeah, I can do a lot of stuff that he can do.
Well, whatever happened to their video or channel?
Well, I gotta hide all the pillows. Because every time Pepper watches Chuck Norris movies, he fights all the pillows and bites them, and he tears some of them. Yeah, it's already starting. It's going to be a long, long, long week. I'm Chuck Norris. Get out of the way. Movie guys. I'm Chuck Norris. Elon Musk, you better give me back my X account, my Twitter account. I can karate kick someone. I can protect Trump. I'm Chuck Norris. I'm Chuck Norris. I'm Chuck Norris.
And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming.
He was playing the music there, so I couldn't play that. There's just about 10 seconds left on it. But I found that on Telegram. Okay, Billy Bean, 20 minutes. Then the last one will be DJ. I come back at 7 o'clock.
Some of the things we'll cover: G3, KP7, President Trump, 48 hours, an Iran threat, nuke, and we seem to see Russia and China also involved in that. So let's get started. We have what's going on in space. Today we have a coronal hole in the sun facing the Earth that could release later today more CMEs. But we do have the solar wind coming in that's believed will give us a strong G3 KP index of about 7, which means we could see in the U.S. auroras down to at least the top third of the U.S. from Canada. And this G3 KP7, March 22 to 23. So that's going on. And we did see auroras last night down to Arizona. We also saw in the past 24 hours a strong earthquake, a 6.7 in the mid-Atlantic ridge. So we have the U.S., we have the mid-Atlantic ridge in the middle of the Atlantic between the U.S. and Africa that is pulling apart. We do know that's going on. So we had a 6.7 there, 10 kilometers or 6 miles deep. And we do have separation going on. So that's going on. And we have this from Skylab. Okay, so we do have a strong wet weather anomaly currently over the west part of the U.S. with extreme abnormal temperatures. We're having June temperatures in March. We're also having extreme low levels of humidity, which creates a fire danger. And we know we had predictions from Mike from around the world that we would see fires and floods this year. And we just saw in the past 24 hours flooding in Hawaii. So that's going on. And we're seeing in the Pacific, we're seeing El Nino, a warming of the Pacific Ocean with another extreme temperature high of high temperatures not seen before. We've had yesterday in Colorado a temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit when the normal would be 55. And we're also seeing wind speed increase. So low humidity, high temperatures, high wind. That's a scenario to lead to a fire danger. Plus, we are seeing fireballs come in. In March alone, we saw fireballs over the U.S. in Washington, Ohio, Texas, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, New York. The fireballs, which come in with a sonic boom and something like lightning, could also be an ignition source for fires. So that's going on. And we had that information come in from Stephen Burns, geophysicist. So we're seeing a climate change when we're having summer-like temperatures in the spring. And a source says the El Nino, the high temperatures in the Pacific haven't fully developed yet. So it's believed that in a couple of months, when we see temperatures continuing to increase in the Pacific, this will also contribute to a fire scenario over the U.S. We do see the number of sunspots on the sun increasing, and the current solar and weather models are not able to accurately predict what's going to happen because the models are based on the norms we've seen in the past that then created a history. Okay, if we see this temperature and this humidity, what kind of weather can we expect? But now that we're seeing anomalies in both temperature and humidity and wind, our current models cannot accurately predict What is the weather going to do? So that's going on. And we have this. Oh, yeah, from Facebook. It was like a joke. Okay, they're going to replace TSA with ICE and see a dramatic increase in deportations. But there is some truth in that. Just from news reports, President Trump says yes. Monday, he's sending ICE to the airports to help the TSA. And Tom Homan is in charge. So look for that to be interesting. We have this from Facebook also. Finally, Japan is going to help with the Strait of Hormuz. And what you see is a picture. We know the Strait of Hormuz is we have Iran. That's where all the oil is being choked off. Strait of Hormuz. So my Facebook friend says, yes, Japan finally is going to be helping in the Strait of Hormuz. And we see a picture of a Godzilla rising out of the Persian Gulf. So way to go, Japan. And we have this from MoneyWise, talking about European nation banks are now advising their citizens to have at least one week of cash and 1 week of food and water. And that's based on, certainly in Europe, impacts from war situations in the Ukraine and also in the Middle East. I submit this for American citizens. The same advice is good to take, to have cash, food and water, medicine on hand for 1 to 2 weeks. Because in addition to we could have a war initiated cyber attacks on our banks or our power grid or so forth. But we also see with our own lying eyes that we are experiencing in the U.S. a major climate change. So yeah, that's going on. And we have this. We have from U.S. Intel, Hal Turner. Last night on social media, President Trump put forth a new.
I got another one that's more the DJ. I think I already played, but I got a better one. It's about 20 something minutes, and that will be the last one till 7. So we got one more big video.
Ultimatum to Iran.
Tonight I'll try to get all the short ones in tonight.
To open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Now, we've seen President Trump give Iran an ultimatum in the past. They had like 60 days to negotiate, and they didn't come to the negotiating table. And that's when we saw Midnight Hammer. So that's happening. So I would take President Trump seriously. This ultimatum began last night. So we can say from about, say, 8 o'clock Saturday night, Sunday, Monday. So Tuesday, I don't believe Iran is going to open the Strait of Hormuz. So by Tuesday, we should see some big event by the U.S. military. We have this from iPaper that Iran has space-based vehicles that could launch missiles. called Simorph or Zulanab that can travel 2,500 miles. Now, we are seeing an expansion come out from Iran, a radius prediction of weapons, now including Europe and also Diego Garcia. It's an island in the Indian Ocean on which the U.S. has a strategic military base. So we saw in the past 24 hours, we did see Iran appearing to use longer range missiles. They aimed a couple at Diego Garcia. They fell short, but they also hit southern Israel, which is even further away, Adad, I believe, that caused 100 casualties. We don't know how many dead or how many wounded yet in a civilian area. So that did happen, and we are seeing, with our own lying eyes, we're seeing Iran use larger missiles that appear to be traveling further. Now, over this weekend, Xi in China had a meeting with the leader in Vietnam. China and Vietnam came to some type of military agreement about managing the South China Sea. So that's going on. We have this. The White House verifies, longer range missiles being used by Iran, and that Iran has hit civilian homes inside Israel.
Choose your role.
And they have also hit Israel. They hit civilian homes near Israel's Dimona nuclear power plant. And it's being put forth by the White House that the U.S. believes Iran does have missiles that can reach Europe. And we have this from U.S. Intel. So again, on Iranian TV and also TV in Lebanon. Lebanon is a nation adjacent to Israel where Iran's proxy Hezbollah is attacking Israel. So we had on TV in Iran and Lebanon another written message from Ayatollah number 2 that Iran would use nukes. They would either build one or acquire one. Now, it's been my position for years, and Israeli News Live Stephen Ben-Nun has the same opinion. I have believed for years that Iran already has nukes. And we've heard in 2003, the CIA said, it doesn't appear that Iran has been building a nuke since 2003. My take has always been on that. Most likely, they stopped trying to build a nuke in 2003 because they already had them. That is what I believe. So now we have some leader in Iran giving a written message from Ayatollah number 2. Iran is going to use nukes. We're going to either build or acquire them. Now, this U.S. intel appears to imply that both Russia and China made public statements backing up this claim by Iran that Iran would use nukes, either build one or acquire one. I haven't found any sources yet for any statements by Russia or China supporting this position of Iran. But this is what I believe. I believe they do have nukes, and absolutely, I believe the nutball psychopaths in Iran who cling to a religion-based apocalyptic worldview, absolutely, if they can push the button, they will use nukes. So that's going on. And we have this. Inside Iran, the people are coming together as part of a resistance group called the Immortal Guard, and their leader is Reza Pahlavi, who we believe President Trump has selected to head up the transition government in Iran. And in day 22 of this conflict, the U.S. military has made 8,000 strikes, hitting thousands of locations, 20, 25, 30,000 targets. So that's going on. They've also taken down in Iran 130 Navy ships. And we have this. We have that, yes, Arad in Israel has been hit, 100 casualties in Israel. And we have the U.S. military saying that Iran has launched 15 bombs on Israel. And the U.S. has launched in the past 24 hours 15 bombs on Iran. And Iran's air defense system was able to take down 0. And it's believed that Iran is in the position of using a nuke, and they plan to either build or acquire one. Now, I heard a military analyst this morning say, and it's common knowledge, that Iran does have juiced up uranium up to a 60% level. Typically, for a nuke weapon, you need to juice up your uranium or plutonium or whatever to a 90% level. No one disputes that Iran currently has 60% uranium, which this military analyst said Iran could easily use this percent of uranium to apply to their conventional weapons to make a dirty bomb. So that's going on. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, we got one so far with Billy today, then Mel video and other stuff. To end it with the first show, not sure about this one, you guys. Let me know if this is good to end the show with or not. I'm going to play this one.
Hawaii, are you serious right now? We talked about the other day with the wacky jet stream and all of its chaos that it's been putting everybody through here recently. And the location of the jet stream out here in the Pacific did look conducive to bring in some heavy rains to parts of Hawaii, and it sure enough did. They've gotten several inches of rain. They're dealing with flooding on a very large scale. Berlinda having coffee with common sense, lost homes, destroyed farms. Hawaii takes stock in wake of storm. And you can see right here a house next to a river out here on the island of Oahu, right in here. And there's a river that runs through Wailua. And I've seen videos, I've gotten reports from people that say the flooding is eroding the banks at a very rapid pace, let's put it that way. Flooding like they've never seen before. So people are up against it there. Alex, Will, Christina, Vindar, what's going on, guys? I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. Once again, the big flood out in California, or not in California. They've had their share in the past, but Hawaii, they're dealing with a rare flooding situation. And you know what? They could see more rain today before the end of the day to add to the already very heavy rainfall totals that they've had out there. Reports coming in of up to a 2-inch per hour rainfall rates in Hawaii, causing, once again, very dramatic flooding over here at civilbeat.org. This is the Big Island News Network showing mudslides and the river there out of its banks. I'm not sure of the name of the river. I think let's see if we can find it here on Google Earth real quick. All I found was like a large stream that went through here. Yeah, the Pahoho stream. And I think that's what's gotten out of its banks, the Pahoho stream. But anyway, houses being washed away or on the verge of being washed away. People having to move to high ground. Just a very unfamiliar sight out here in Hawaii. Sinkholes, power outages, the whole 9 yards. I mean, the type of weather, look at this here, the type of weather you'd see maybe in the Central Plains. Look at that, a big branch hanging off of a power line right there is part of the reason for the power outages that they saw. They've been dealing with high winds and flooding, just something that's very uncharacteristic for the normally very pleasant weather out there in Hawaii. A vacation destination from around the world. People go there for the beautiful weather. But once again, they've been dealing with it here recently. Looking at the summit of Mount Kilauea just smoldering away. No eruptions in the last probably 10 days. The last time it erupted, though, it threw a pretty big fit. I'd like to thank the following people here for the very kind generosity that they extended to me here recently. Rocha, Sandra, Kelly, Terry, Dawn, all you guys here on this list. Big shout out to you guys. I really appreciate that. And those of you that don't know, please visit MrMBB333.com. Taking a look at the earth-facing side of the sun, there's a chance of auroras tonight, possibly in the northern United States. We've got a CME, a coronal mass ejection headed this way, along with high-speed solar wind coming out of this large coronal hole, this equatorial region that's spewing solar wind towards the Earth. So it's already created a G3 geomagnetic storm, and we could see more activity tonight as we move into the overnight hours. So if it's not cloudy in your location, look to the north. You might see some auroras tonight, some wild and crazy skies here. People are reporting, guys. I want to share something with you guys, and that's really the feature of this video. People are reporting some things that I don't normally get reports on, and it's kind of a big deal. People are reporting loud noises. We've had homes shook in northern Cleveland, and I already know that was from a meteorite, but I'm getting reports of unusual things in the sky, not necessarily unusual lights. This one here was sent in by Joe and Shelby, and I believe this was from Tennessee, Kentucky, somewhere in that area. They looked up and saw this, or it showed up on one of their outdoor security cameras, but I'm getting more than that. I'm going to show you guys a map that I put together, 3 different locations where people are hearing, and I've got 2 of them on video recorded, loud booms, very loud booms that are uncharacteristic. So it makes you wonder, is something going on over here in the United States that maybe we're just not aware of? You saw right there a high-speed orb right there in the nighttime sky. That occurred, I believe, around 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. Stephanie, March 18th. A few nights later, looked up and saw this in the nighttime sky. So as usual, this is not necessarily anything new, seeing unusual lights in the nighttime sky. I'm going to show you guys some things in the daytime sky that look very much out of place. So it's almost as if there's something going on over here in the United States that that may not be being reported on. Here's another video of an unusual light by Candy out of Mississippi. She looked up and saw that in the nighttime sky, and it wasn't a Chinese lantern. If it was, it would have already faded out by now, and it probably wouldn't have been that bright. So some sort of an unusual light, multiple lights there in the nighttime sky that are just a little bit out of character. Speaking of out of character, here you go, man. Here's the report that you guys probably stopped by the video to check out. People are not only hearing things in the sky, they're seeing things that just don't look right. This one here is not in the United States, but it looks like something fell through the sky above Dalby, Queensland, sent in by Jeff. The next one you're going to see is out of the United States, but see that right there? I think he caught the tail end of a meteorite, something above Queensland. Teresa and Tony Johnson, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. If you guys have ever seen videos of missiles going through the sky, they leave a trail much longer than this, but the aftermath of 3 high-speed objects right here, that's what the aftermath would look like in the sky. You would see 3 signatures like that in the sky. In fact, I just saw a video today of the very thing, missiles going through the sky, and there were streaks in the sky like that. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened here, but it looks like it could have. You know what I mean? That's what that activity looks like. Josh out of Killeen, Texas, looked up and saw this in the daytime sky. Where's the airplane, man? It's not there. At least it didn't show up in the photo.
This is pretty good.
If there was an airplane there, it's the exact same color as the sky. It's just not there. I don't know. People are seeing and hearing some unusual things. Deanna, not sure of the location, but look at the big X in the sky. Pretty wild, right? We've got X's and O's, South Carolina. Josh, X's and O's. Cool shots, Aurora, Colorado. People are seeing things, I'm telling you. People are seeing things. I get videos and photos from all around the world. So here's another example of lines in the sky. Check it out. Wiley, Texas, 3/11/2026. Susie. This video has narration. Here we go.
11/2026. It's a super clear night, very windy. Just off to the west, there's this line of clouds.
You guys look at this one.
Across. But they don't look like super high up in the atmosphere like chemtrails usually. Just kind of the line there off to the west of Wiley, Texas.
Right there, Wiley, Texas. This is what compelled her to take this video. There was an intermittent, very straight, horizontal line that went as far as she could see in both directions above Wiley, Texas. I guess this was off to the west from her vantage point. She'd never seen anything like that before. She said it was highly unusual, didn't know what caused it. There were no other clouds in the sky. And she said it didn't look like a normal contrail from an airplane. Looks like something that went through that area with high speed, had a lot of speed and power that went through there that was able to do that. And she didn't think it was an airplane. So again, here's another example of an unusual observation of something streaking through the sky that the trajectory doesn't make sense for a meteorite. Meteorites come in at a steeper angle. They're much quicker. The trail that's left behind by a meteorite is either very quick and disappears very fast, or it lingers around for a little while and it becomes very discombobulated. This is going horizontally across the sky for miles and miles and miles. So that's not an airplane contrail, and it's not a meteorite. What was it? It's very similar to what the young lady saw from New Zealand. And I'm going to show you the comparison. See, this is what she saw from New Zealand on the 17th. Okay? So this was within about 5 days of each other. This is obviously deep in the southern hemisphere, but for comparison purposes, this one here looks very similar to that one there. The only difference is this one here has some weak points in it, some breakage. Maybe you just can't see it because it's dark. This one here looks cohesive. It's one long line in the sky. This was in the early morning sky from the North Island of New Zealand, and this was in the evening sky from Wiley, Texas. So again, people are seeing things that they just don't normally see, on the regular, and that is definitely unusual. That looks to be fairly high in the sky and spans for many, many miles. And to be able to reflect that kind of sunlight, that tells you that it was up in the sky a pretty good ways, because the sun was not up yet, but that's clearly reflecting sunlight. So that tells us the altitude was pretty significant with that object right there, whatever created that, and she didn't see it. But those two look very similar. So there's another example of some unusual things in the daytime sky. Well, we're just getting started, guys. Here we go. Here's a map I put together. You guys wanted to hear about the loud booms? Okay, here we go. Loud booms it is. All right. I got a video a couple days ago from a young lady that was right smack dab in the middle of Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee. All right. She started hearing loud booms. All right. And she said it startled her. So she started recording the sky. She didn't know what else to do. Turned on her smartphone. She's right here. Okay, here's Nashville. Here's Memphis. She's right out here in a rural area. And she's trying to, fairly rural, she's trying to record these loud booms. I also, we're going to look at that video here in a minute. I also get a video from over here along the East Coast of, you're going to see in this video, I mean, this thing is weird, of a highly unusual object that was spotted in the evening nighttime sky. But as the person is recording this thing in the sky, you're going to hear loud booms in the background. And it's like, okay, what's going on over here? I mean, do we have a situation that's already escalated over here on inside the borders of the U.S.? I'm telling you, if you listen to some of these videos, you probably think so. And then, of course, the incident up here near Cleveland, where people were reporting their homes shaking the other day. I get it. It was from a meteorite that went through the atmosphere. But, here's the thing, man. We see meteorites like that all the time. And homes aren't shaking on their foundations, like as one person said, violently from a meteorite that size. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. Yeah, of course it has. But anyway, we've already talked about that. These are two new areas over here, and they're pretty much parallel with each other. They're almost in the same exact latitude. Right out here between, in western Tennessee, between Memphis and Nashville, and over here in northeastern North Carolina. You're going to hear examples of loud booms from those locations. Unbelievable. So get ready. Here we go. Let me back out of Hawaii. Hope everybody's doing okay out there in Hawaii. I know they've been up against it here recently. Holy moly. Okay, guys, here's the video. Now, just a big heads up. If you got earphones in or something, there are segments of this that might be a little bit loud. I tried to be cognizant of that. I know people wear headphones and earplugs and things like that. It is a little loud, but I did tone it down just a little bit so it wouldn't be too overwhelmingly loud, okay? But you're going to hear loud booms from two of these locations here. Here we go. Shelby Inn out of rural Memphis, western Tennessee. Loud booms on the 19th. Less than 2 days ago, 7 p.m., and she heard this multiple times. That was one time that she caught on this video here, but she said she heard it obviously prior. That's what compelled her to take the video. And she heard it several times afterwards as she was sending the video to me. One more time. I don't know about you guys, but that sounded like some sort of ordnance that went off. And in fact, I responded to her email, Shelby N. I haven't heard back from her. I said, look around for smoke plumes. That's what that sounded like. I mean, seriously, this is getting wild, you know, getting very wild. Okay, here we go. Going from Memphis, rural Memphis, to straight across to right over here to northeastern North Carolina. And again, as far as latitude goes, these areas are practically sharing the same latitude, just a few hundred miles apart. Moyock, North Carolina. This video was taken just the other night. It also includes loud booms. They're not quite as loud as the video you just heard. And I know they weren't that loud, but you know, some of you that wear headphones, yeah, they could have been loud. Cassandra C. Moyock is on the North Carolina-Virginia border in northeastern North Carolina, 3/17 of 2026. Okay, this one here is weird, man. You guys aren't going to see this on the news, okay? Those of you that watch the news, you're not going to see this on the news. I don't watch the news, but I guarantee you it didn't make the news. Cassandra from North Carolina looked up and saw this humdinger in the nighttime sky. Here you go. Make this make sense. But in the background of this video, you're going to hear more loud booms, okay? You're not going to hear this on the news or see this on the news. Only here. Here you go. Hear the boom?
Get your mouth over.
Take us up, dude. That looks weird.
Another boom. Another boom. Another boom. Another boom. Another boom. Listen to that. Listen to that. Are you serious?
Yeah, Ray, I'll be back at 7. Glad you made it in.
Something going on. Another one, another one. Hear those deep rumbling booms in the background. Look at that.
Fading away now. Fading away.
There you go.
Here it is close up. I mean, this here was a doozy. I mean, she stopped in her tracks, started filming this thing, and there was another segment of the video that just showed it just very briefly disappearing. She watched this thing for several minutes, shared this video with me. I zoomed in very close right there. That was not left behind by an airplane or a helicopter, drone, rock. I mean, there's some weird stuff going on in the day and nighttime sky. You heard many loud booms in the background of this video here. Maybe that's something that's normal to this area. I don't know. I don't think so. But the ones I know in Memphis were definitely not normal. The woman was actually very frightened. She said she'd never heard booms like that in her area. So once again, referring, and this thing here, it's on a whole nother level. Yeah, I think I think those are background stars, because she did say that this was in the northeast sky. Okay, so I think we're looking at the Big Dipper there. Yeah, okay, that's got to be the Big Dipper here in the background. And then whatever that little unit is right there, that Swahili right there in the sky. So we've got this Swahili with booms in the background. We go to Memphis. We've got booms, very loud booms in the rural Memphis. She said she was in the middle of Memphis and Nashville. So here's the map one more time. I'll start keeping a map like I did with the weird flashing lights and the, strange wildlife behavior. I'll keep a map of loud booms that people are hearing over here in the United States and see if we can connect some dots and make some sense of what's going on. But they're happening. Strange streaks in the sky are showing up. It's almost as if something's going on over here inside the borders of the United States. I don't know. I'm just saying, people are recording some unusual stuff that we don't normally get on the regular. So just so you guys know, big heads up. I mean, tonight you might see some auroras if it's not cloudy in your location. So heads up for that because of the high-speed stream of solar wind and from the CME. But you never know what else you might see in the nighttime sky or daytime sky as far as that goes, and especially loud booms. If you guys hear any loud booms, by all means, try to record them if you can. There's a lot going on right now. I mean, the situation out in Hawaii is just very rare, and I think it's because we're in the transition between La Nina and El Nino, and the jet stream's been very, very wonky here lately. Unless it's being manipulated somehow, you've almost got a negative tilt situation again right here, which is rare. See that right there? That big trough? Okay. What a negative tilt situation is with regard to the jet stream is if that trough, that deep trough you see right there, was tilted back to the northwest, and then you can see it's already anchored down here in the southeast. That creates really wild weather, and we're almost there again. So that's what a negative trough is. If you ever study the jet stream, I've studied weather. Yes, I'm educated in weather. That's a negative trough in the works. Is it going to be a negative trough situation? Maybe, maybe not. It remains to be seen. But if it does become a negative trough situation, we'll know about it because the weather will be wild and crazy. So once again, pay attention for loud booms. If you hear any, share them to my email, reports at mrmbb333.com. Also, check out the website.
Okay, that's a channel I don't play very often. I hope everybody liked that one. Looked like it was pretty good. All right, everybody. Another big show. We did Mel, an hour Mel. We did a 20-minute Billy and a bunch of other ones. And then tonight I got one on the ship things again, Lori. I think might be another one. That 15-minute one, and there's another 15. And we'll do the short ones. I got a lot of short ones for tonight. So we'll see you guys all after dinner time. Enjoy your Sunday. And thanks, Flying Eagle, Lucy K, Lindsay Carolyn, Tim. Kay must have been rested, lurking. Hopefully she'll be in tonight. So God bless everybody. Remember, please hit the likes. Be safe, stay strong, keep the faith. Never give up. And signing off for show number 1. Chico and Dude. See you guys. See you soon.